Today, I will be showing you how I swing trade US oil using volume profile as part of my analysis. Now, before we get into all of that, first things first, a quick recap on what we did last week, because it's been 6 days since I did a recording on oil. And the last recording that I did, we had price in this low value node area. And this low value node area happens to sit on the bottom or the lowest boundary within the high value area, right? So we have low value node at the bottom of the high value area, right? So it's just leaving this location now, right? And this is what we got going on as it stands. And what we do have, if I go in even closer, is that we had price close above the low value node area. So it's closed above it, and now it has come back into it, right? But it has closed above it. So at this point, this doesn't really tell us anything, right? But however, we can look at it this way. We can look at it from a point of view to say that, okay, price is thinking about making a move to the upside. And at its bare minimum, it will be heading back to point of control. And that is 73.51. Now, if you're just coming across this video for the very first time on my channel, right? I've just thrown you into the deep end, right? And I was about to apologize, but as a matter of fact, I won't, because my question to you is, what took you so long? And what was you doing? Like, why aren't you participating in markets? So, but now that you're here, I'm like, okay, you've missed a fair bit. Luckily for you, I've put everything into playlists. So what you're going to have to do is go through all of the playlists to bring yourself up to speed. But to help you out, okay, how we normally trade, or how I normally trade on this channel, okay, is I like to use an indicator called the volume profile, okay? Now, the volume profile is it's an indicator that lets you know where all the passive orders are sitting within a market, right? So it's a bit like chart footprint, but less of a noise, right? So this system here, this volume profile that you're seeing right here, okay, works great with chart footprint. But the only problem with chart footprint on TradingView is that it lags by 15 minutes. So due to that time issue, having chart footprint on, it's not really a good idea, because the time difference is actually quite high. 15 minutes is a long time in the market, right? A long time in the market. So it's not something that is that you can really deal with. I mean, it looks cool on your chart and everything, but it's 15 minutes delayed, so it makes no sense, right? But however, even if this is delayed in itself, right? Because we're looking at an overall massive move on a higher time frame, okay? A lot of the time, the changes is somewhat workable, right? It's somewhat workable. Even if this is delayed, it's still somewhat workable, because market still responds to certain levels on the volume profile, right? So how I use the volume profile is really simple. So essentially, there's different kind of ways you could use volume profile to navigate the market, all right? So I'm not telling you that my way is the absolute standard way of using volume profile. No, my way of using volume profile is really simple. Areas where there is low activities in the market, right? I have noticed that these areas tend to be areas of maybe support or resistance. Okay, so market will act in certain ways at certain levels where there is low value, where there's low value nodes, right? So because it can kind of act as support and resistance, it's also an area where market can go parabolic in either direction, right? So market can go parabolic in this zone, where you will just get one straight candle, fly all the way through, or possibly two, depending on how strong it is, and then it will relax once it makes itself out of the zone. Why? Because there isn't many orders to hold it or keep it busy. It's just going to fall straight through. Same thing that we have here. The lower the passive orders are, the likelihood that price will bounce or price will completely blast through it, right? So this is why I actually like using volume profile, because it kind of gives me the best areas for actual support and actual resistance, right, in the market. It really does. Market tends to obey those levels a lot more than people think. So with that, you can kind of plan your trades around them. Obviously, you can't just use that on its own, right? You can kind of plan your trades along them, right? So this volume profile in itself, let's have a look to see where it derives from. Right, let's just see where it derives from. Okay, let me go to settings. Cool. So in the histogram box, what I'm going to do is just drag the color off a bit, and it should tell us how far back it goes. Okay, so it covers a decent amount. So I've turned the color on in the histogram, so this will give us a rough idea as to how far back this data that we're seeing right here is being derived from. Okay, and we're all the way up to this high point right here. Okay, so if you look and you see where my cursor is, right? So my cursor essentially is following all the low value nodes, or you could say the indentations within all of these spikes on the side here, right? Now, as I do that, you're going to begin to see that it starts to line up with certain things in the chart. So I'm in here now, right? If I drag this all the way back, you can see we had a rejection right here, right? So let's go to this top one right here. I'm in here now. If I go all the way back, you can see we're sitting right here in this low value node area. Okay, so we can see this is why I use the low value node. So it's a really brief explanation as to why I'm using them. So if you follow along, especially by going through the playlist, you're going to begin to build some form of an understanding as to how I use a volume profile. If you think my style is great, then obviously you can use that because it's on YouTube, right? So you go ahead, use that and make your life a little bit easier when it comes to trading. If you found a better way of doing it, then actually you use that better way. But obviously what I would like to hear from you, hopefully, is that you will share with me what it is that you're doing so that I can learn from you as well, right? So with that all said and done, we're going to get straight into it. So right now, what we're looking at is price has now made a decision and is now pushing up. And we can say we have a close above this low value node area right here. So we have a close above it, right? So which in my mind basically means that the chances of price pushing up to the upside is quite high. But at the same time, okay, this is not a clear close. So it could just peak above it and push back down again, right? I don't see why it would do that, but it could. So what I would want to do is I would want to see if price is actually going to really move away from it, because that's the confidence I'm looking for. Then I'm hoping to see some kind of a retest. And then at that point, I would then join it to the upside. At the bare minimum, we'll be looking at point of control. Okay, so just to measure out roughly how much pips is in there for us, if we get it again, but this time a proper close above, right, or possibly on a retest, which will basically confirm to us that price does plan on going up. And if you measure from that location all the way up to point of control, we would be looking at 617 pips, which is not a bad day. It's not a bad day in the market at all, right? So that's what I'll be looking at, right? If you decide that you wanted to jump in now, you have to hold a certain stop level, right? To keep yourself cool, you have to hold a certain level. So if we drag this from here and we bring this down and just a little bit under the low value node area, I would say you would need, your stop would need to be 433. Okay, 433 pips to hold this position. And it's kind of looking like it's just over, it's just over, I'll just say 1 and a bit of a ratio. So it's not really, let me actually drop this on there instead. Just bear me a moment. Let me drop this instead. This will give us a really good, let me measure it out exactly. Just so we can get the ratio. Yeah, so 1 to 4. So risk reward is 1 to 4. Yeah, 1 to 1.44 is your risk reward ratio, right? It's not bad. Obviously, ideally we want 1 to 2, but 1 to 4 ain't bad, right? Now, this is where you should think about manually closing your position if you see price below these levels right here, okay? And that would be right here. That would be right here. This swing low. So I would just be just under it, just slightly under it. So 63.84. If I see price below this number right here, this is where I will most likely be thinking about jumping out, right? Just taking that hit and just walking away. Preferably, I wouldn't want to have to deal with any of that, because the only thing that I would need to do, in all fairness, is just to be patient. If I'm patient and I'm able to wait to get a proper bounce at this location right here, I'm good. I'm good. That's all that I need to do, is just be patient, right? But if you can't do that, these are the rules. If you can do that, maybe it's going to be less than that. Maybe this is just going to be there just for the sake of it, but you don't really need it. It never really gets tried or tested. Do you know what I mean? So with that all said and done, okay, if you've made it this far into this video, well done to you for staying along and watching my thoughts as to how I think oil is going to be moving. So as it stands right now, I have a bullish bias towards oil. I don't think it's going to drop down. Let me add this to it as well, because this is also relevant. We have this trend line, right? We have this trend line. So essentially, if you decide that you want to FOMO in right now, okay, you want to take that risk and jump in right now, okay, this is how it's going to be looking. As soon as this trend line is broken, you might need to make a decision as to if you're staying in or jumping out. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be that simple. You need to make a decision if you're jumping in or staying out, right? But however, like I said, as it stands right now, I am more bullish on oil than I am bearish, right? So I don't think it's going to come down. It could, because I don't have a crystal ball. It could, but I don't think it will come down. I think it's going to push up. So with that said and done, like I was saying, if you made it this far into this video, I definitely appreciate you. Thank you for hanging around, right? And make sure you do all the cool things you're supposed to do, okay? And so whenever I release a video, you're one of the first to see it, right? And I will see all of you on the next one, which will be very soon, tomorrow's video, as a matter of fact. And I think tomorrow we're going to be talking about EURUSD, so you want to hang around for that one, because that's a really good video in preparation for next week, right? So with that said and done, folks, I will see you all on the next one.